Type annotation types, generic alias union. The core built-in types for type annotations and generic alias and union are generic alias and union. Generic alias type. Generic alias. Objects are generally created by subscripting a class. They are most often used with container classes such as list or dict. For example, list integer is a generic class object created by subscripting the list class with the argument int. Generic alias objects are intended primarily for use with type annotations. Note: it is generally only possible to subscript a class if the class implements the special method underscore underscore class underscore get item underscore method. A generic alias object acts as a proxy for a generic type, implementing parameterized generics. For a container class, the arguments supplied to a subscription of the class may indicate the types of the elements an object contains. For example, set bytes can be used in type annotation to signify a set in which all the elements are of type bytes. For a class which defines underscore underscore class underscore get item underscore but is not a container, the arguments supplied to a subscription of the class will often indicate the return types of one or more methods defined on an object. For example, regular expressions can be used on both the str data type and the bytes data type. If x is equal to re.search foo, foo, x will be a re.match object where the return values of x.group 0 and x of 0 will both be of type str. We can represent this kind of object in type annotations with the generic alias re.match str. If y is equal to re.search b bar byte bar, not the b for bytes, y will also be an instance of re.match, but the return values of y.group 0 and y of 0 will both be of type bytes. In type annotations, we would represent this variety of re.match objects with re.match bytes. Generic alias objects are instances of the class types.generic alias, which can also be used to create generic alias object directly. T list x y creates a generic alias representing a type T parameterized by bytes x, y, and more depending on the T used. For example, a function expecting a list containing float elements def average values list float to float returns some values divided by length values. Another example of mapping objects using a dict, which is a generic type expecting two type parameters representing the key type and the value type. In this example, the function expects a dict with keys of type str and values of type integer. Diff send post request url str body dict str integer none. The built-in function isInstance and isSubclass do not accept generic alias types for their second argument. IsInstance 1 2 list str traceback type error isInstance. The Python runtime does not enforce annotations. This extends to generic types and their type parameters. When creating a container object from a generic alias, the elements in the container are not checked against their type. For example, the following code is discouraged but will run without errors. One, two, three. Furthermore, parameterized generic erase type parameters. Generics erase type parameters during object creation. T list str type T type T generic alias. Okay, print types dot generic alias. L is equal to T type L. L is equal to T type L list. Calling REPR method or str on a generic shows the parameterized type. Print REPR list integer str list integer string list integer. Print the same. The getItem method of generic containers will raise an exception to disallow mistakes like dict str. Dict str. Dict str is not a generic class. Dict str. However, such expressions are valid when type variables are used. The index must have as many elements as there are type variable items in the generic alias object Rs. From typing, import type var y is equal to type var dict is equal to this. From typing, import type var y is equal to y dict str y integer. Dict str integer. Standard generic classes. The following standard library classes support parameterized generics. This is a non-exhaustive. This list is non-exhaustive. Tuple list dict set frozen set type collections.dequeue collections.default dict collections.order dict collections.counter collections.chainmap collections.abc.awaitable collections.abc.coroutine collections.abc.async.iterable collections.abc.async.iterator collections.abc.async.generator collections.abc.iterable collections.abc.iterator collections.abc.generator collections.abc.reversible collections.abc.container collections.abc.collection collections.abc.callable collections.abc.set collections.abc.mutable set collections.abc.mapping collections.abc.mutable mapping, collections.abc.sequence, collections.abc.mutable sequence, collections.abc.bytestring, collections.abc.mapping view, collections.abc.keyViews, collections.abc.items view, collections.abc.values view, collection context deep.abstract context manager, context leaf.abstracts async context manager, data classes.field, functools.catched underscore property, functools.partial method, os.pathlike, q.life LIFO queue, q.queue, q.priority queue, q.simple queue, re.pattern, re.match, self.bsd, dbself, selves.df file name self, self.self, types.mapping proxy type, weakref.weak key dictionary, weakref.weak method, weakref.weak set, weakref.weak value dictionary. Special attributes of generic alias object. All parameterized generics implement special read-only attributes. Generic alias.origin. This attribute points at the non-parameterized generic class list integer.origin class list. Generic alias.args. This attribute is a tuple, possibly of length 1 of generic types passed to the original underscore underscore class underscore get item of the generic class. Dict str list integer dot ars class str list integer. Generic alias dot parameters. This attribute is a lazily computed tuple, possibly empty, of unique type variables found in ars. From typing import type t is equal to type var t list of t dot parameters t. Note: a generic alias object with typing.params spec parameters may not have correct parameters after substitution because typing.param spec is intended primarily for static type checking. Generic alias.unpacked, a boolean that is true if the alias has been unpacked using the star asterisk operator. See the type var tuple. New in version 3.1. See also PEP 484 type hints, introducing Python's framework for type annotations. PEP 585 type hide in hinting generics in standard collections, introducing the ability to natively parameterize standard library classes provided they implement the special class method class get item. Generics, user defined generics, and typing.generic. Documentation on how to implement generic classes that can be parameterized at runtime and understood by static type checkers. New in version 3.9. Thank you.